So, after long awaits, we're finally here. The first video about my first cosplay, Clone Trooper armor. A lot has happened in these last couple months, so allow me to take you through everything. So first we gotta start with these raw prints that were sectioned off to fit on my CR10. And so I decided to use 3D glue, which is the first time I've ever used the super glue. Basically, what makes this super glue so unique is the fact that it's specifically meant for 3D printing, and this is specifically meant for PLA. And what it'll do is it'll chemically weld the pieces together. Not a physical weld like you will with a soldering iron, but a chemical weld. I'm sure some chemists in the comments can tell me all about how chemical welding works, as opposed to actual welding with a welder, or in this case, a soldering iron. And speaking of welding with a soldering iron, that's the next step we're going to do, because while 3D glue will chemically weld it, I want a physical hold, so I can see that this is now physically one piece, not chemically welded, which I still don't know what it means. Alright, once we have all of our pieces glued together, we're going to take some hard artist resin. And the reason that I like to use the hard artist resin instead of like resin you would use in a resin printer is because this resin is a lot harder by nature, hence the name hard artist resin. So it'll do a better job of filling out the gaps in the prints than the regular resin for a 3D printer. But it also cures the same with the UV light, so it's pretty good. I don't know why more people don't use it. But on top of that, I also just put Bondo on it, as usual. And once the Bondo is on and dried, we're then going to start our sanding process. I purposely didn't film my most of my sanding, because if you see me sand once, you see me do it 1,000 times. But for this, I did start with a really rough grit, a 60 grit, to get down that resin, to get down that Bondo to a nice flat finish, so you won't have to work harder later on. But for the rest of the print, like all those flat surfaces for the chest piece and such, I used 120 grit. And speaking of the chest piece, there was one section of the chest piece that didn't want to print properly the way I had it oriented, so I had to orient it facing down. And of course that had the support interface touching that side, which I obviously wanted to avoid. But no matter, I can now use the resin you use in a 3D printer to fill in those gaps. Since they're not filling in two gaps between spaces, it's just filling in a gap between a singular piece. It was very easy to do, sand it smooth, no problems at all. Alright, now once we have everything sanded with the 120 grit, we are going to start spraying down our duplicolor filler primer. But after the filler primer, I did use a sandable primer, the black sandable primer, also from Duplicolor. And after that, I went up to about a 320 grit sandpaper, but once again, I didn't film any of that because it'd be boring for you guys to watch it. Alright, and once we have all that done, we can finally put the suit on. And I will be going inside to show you how I did all my buckles and straps and got the suit to actually fit on my person. I'm sure you noticed some things that aren't working properly. I will be explaining that once we go inside. But until then, this is what you get to see. So anyways, I'll see you guys inside. So now that we have everything all sanded and smooth and stuff, there's been a couple months jump from then to now. And that's because I wanted to get the smoothing and the sanding and the harness and the buckles, straps, all that into one video. So then after that, I can move on to the fun stuff like painting and such. So I want to show you how I'm going to wear it, essentially. I'll show you guys one thing at a time, and then I'll have it be put on and all that such. But yeah, let's get that started. So one thing that I need to make you aware of is when I scaled everything in Armorsmith, I was in the process of going through like a weight loss routine, which I've succeeded in doing. But when I scaled everything, I was like, oh, this is a weight I'm comfortable with, I'm not gonna lose any more. And then I proceed to lose more, so some things don't fit me as well as they should, and I feel like this is one of those. But anyway, so this is pretty simple. The 2 elastic bands with Velcro underneath, nice underneath, taped on. And then I kind of wrap it around. And then I take the other Velcro and I just put it on. And then the growing piece is on. As you can see here, kind of overlaps a little bit, but I'm not worried about that because A, it's not that noticeable, and B, it's going to be hidden under the comma that I'm wearing, so not really concerned. And then going in the same kind of way, we have the abs piece. The abs piece I'm worried about because of how much it overlaps, and I'm not able to cover that up. But I feel like it's upside down. But yeah, it's kind of the same system. 2 Velcro straps going around. The Velcro comes off because it's, once again, it's scaled wrong. And it kind of just goes on like that. So this kind of chipped off, but I'm not worried about that because I'll use it for weathering. But as you see, it kind of slips down a little bit on the front. And once again, it's scaled wrong, major overlap. I'm thinking I might just take a Dremel, cut that off, so these 2 areas are flush. The same thing on here. But I don't know, we'll see. But this goes down. Not worried about it because the belt is here, so it kind of keeps that up. And there are these 2 buckles here that will attach to the harness, which also kind of keep it up. So there's that. Now you can move on to the torso. These 2 are attached with buckles, straps, and super glue. I don't need them to come apart because all I really need to do to get it on is kind of just slip my head through. And then there's another elastic band, but this one has like a pin. It has like a, I don't know what you call it, kind of like a button that goes into the male end of the button. If I can show you, I'm not really sure if you can see it. Like right around there, there's the male end of the button. So these kind of just go on, and then they clip on in to the male end of the button. I tried to make it as idiot-proof as possible so I can do it myself, and if I need somebody, it's easy for them to figure it out. But this is another example of one of the things not being scaled properly because there's a big gap between the piece and my side, which makes it difficult because right now it's easy. I can have my hands at my sides. That's because it can go in between the gaps. But when I have the bicep pieces on, it scrapes against the side. So I'm thinking I'll need to either keep repainting it after every convention or put on some clear vinyl, and that will protect it, but I'm still thinking about that. And while we're talking about the bicep pieces, let's talk about the biceps and the shoulders. So these are attached super glue, elastic band, a stiffer elastic band than the stretchy one, so it has a little bit of give to it, but it's not gonna stretch all the way out. But anyways, these just slide on, and there's the buckle at the top of the torso. All right, and this was kind of saying before. Also, once again, another instance of something being not scaled right, but whatever. So the biceps will scrape against the sides of the torso. Already kind of starting to peel off. That's why I put a base layer of black the black duplicate color sandable. So as I wear it and walk around, I can see where the paint comes off, so I know where to put the clear vinyl, or at least know the areas to pay attention to. Forearms are easy. The forearms just friction fit. But the problem is, and you can see them right here, well also you can see I have padding on the inside, but this was scale bigger than this was. I could have just mirrored it, but then I wouldn't have had the little details here. So I didn't do that. But that's fine because the foam padding keeps it relatively tight on my arm, my forearm. Yeah, then there, they fit like that. So the right one fits a lot better than the left one, but not really much I can do about that at this point. It'll be something I fix later on once I make adjustments to the suit throughout until next year, to the next convention. Alright, a little bit ago you heard me mention the harness system, and so this is kind of the very loose definition of a harness system that I have. So it really just comes down to the belt that's going around my waist, or my stomach in this case. And then I have these two straps that I kind of put in like an X way, kind of like X suspenders. These stretch all the way down to my thighs. So these buckles go into my thighs and they hold them up. And these buckles up here are what go into the ab piece I was talking about before. But anyways, let's talk about the thighs and the lower body. So these are the thighs and the calf pieces. They're attached with a buckle and elastic bands, like most other things, like everything else on the suit essentially. And these changed a lot. Because once again, like I said before, when I scaled them, I look different. So these thighs are a lot bigger than what they should be. So as you can see, I've been trying to put a lot of padding inside to kind of narrow it down a little bit. I'd say I've reached something of a good medium, but they're a little difficult to get on properly. The thigh slides on, but it's the calf that I worry about. If it wasn't for the opening on the back of the calf, there's no way I'd be able to get these on. So, and then these buckle in, hold the thigh up, and rotate the calf. Then there we go. And then it's the same thing for the other thigh and calf. All right. So here's the thing about this. The reason I don't want to put any more padding on now is because A, it's already kind of putting some pressure on my thighs in certain areas, so I don't want to put any more. But the right calf is a lot harder to get on than the left one is. I could take off more foam, but when you realize that I'm going to be in a convention center with a bunch of people, it's hot in a convention, so I'm going to be wearing about 30 pounds of plastic distributed across my body. So I'm going to be sweating a lot. And when the human body sweats, it expands. So therefore, my body's going to get bigger. Therefore, it'll fill out the calf better, and it won't move around as much, in theory. But just so I can show you guys what I was talking about with the buckles on the abs. And there. It just suspends there, and that's enough space for the belt and the groin piece to fit on. But other than that, yeah, that's really all I've been working on. I guess I can give you a little bit of a preview. I'll have, I guess I can give you a little bit of a preview. So one of my friends at work sews, and I asked him to make the comma for my suit. And so it's gonna attach to the belt. It's not gonna attach to my body. It'll attach to the belt. And when it does that, it'll be like that. And then it'll meet here, and it'll cover up the thighs, which is good because I knew that was gonna happen, and the thighs don't look I didn't do a good job of sanding them. But anyways, they're gonna look like that. It's gonna cover that. It's gonna cover that shit up, and I won't have to worry people pointing out the calves, pointing out the thighs, or the fact that the groin and the butt plate overlap at that one area. So that solves that problem. I wish I could show you how this was made, but I can't because I didn't make it. And pretty much that's the only thing on the suit that I didn't make, besides obviously the undersuit, but I don't have that on right now. But so the only thing I have left to do is I need to paint everything, I need to weather it, I need to get a pair of white high tops for shoes, because right now I just have my regular black non-slips, and I need to do the helmet. The helmet will be the very last thing I do, because I've done so many helmets before, and it'll be easy. But on that note, I feel like that's going to be the end of this video. I will be updating you guys soon, because I am filming this as of February 22nd, and the convention I'm aware is at the end of March, so videos are going to be rolling out because I need to get this suit done by the end of March. And I'm going to be testing out some new painting techniques on it, so I need more time, so just expect those to come out.